My name is Linda Wright, 17 Mountaineer Lane, Chantilly. I've owned a home on Chantilly Mountain for 27 years. I will speak about 3 topics relating to gas drilling: science, water, and policy. Science. Science has been conducted and published since the town's 2010 survey was collected, but none is in the comprehensive plan. Because I am a research biochemist and I have read the science, I know that the proposed state regulations for horizontal fracking are not adequate to protect our water, air, and health. I am submitting 35 highly regarded science documents to the town for insertion into the comprehensive plan. Water. Chantilly Mountain holds the largest and cleanest lakes in the town, namely Chantilly Lake and Sand Pond. The 2 lakes and their outlet brooks located on top of the mountain are full year-round due to replenishment of the water from natural, extensive networks of deep, pressurized aquifers. Besides the outlet brooks from the 2 lakes, another 2 brooks originate on the mountain, namely Panther Rock Brook and Cattail Brook. These 4 brooks comprise 1/2 of the 8 New York State recognized principal aquifers supplying the town with free, abundant, high-quality natural water. Existing conditions on Chantilly Mountain pose risks to this water supply. There are 2 uncapped vertical gas or oil wells from earlier years, and a lease to Chesapeake for gas drilling has been signed for 186 acres of private property. Horizontal fracking in the town must be banned to protect this 1/2 of the natural water supply to the town and private wells. Policy. The June version of the comprehensive plan has additions which emphasize that every aspect of the agricultural plan is part of the comprehensive plan. A careful reading of the agricultural plan finds a sentence on page 38 which openly welcomes gas drilling. Quote, "Ensure that zoning allows for the review and permitting of gas drilling to the full extent feasible under state laws and requirements." Unquote. This sentence is never repeated or referenced in the comprehensive plan. I'll repeat the sentence. "Ensure that zoning allows for the review and permitting of gas drilling to the full extent feasible under state laws and requirements." I feel that the residents are being deceived when the town buries one sentence which establishes policy in over 170 pages of 2 linked plans. The town must immediately remove this statement from the agricultural plan.
Concerned citizen, a landowner, a taxpayer, a businessman, a healthcare provider, and past lawmaker in the County of Sullivan. The actions, conduct, and responsibilities of the Town Board and Comprehensive Plan Committee are a very serious matter and must not happen in a vacuum. When members vote on specific proposal, thus enacting local law and carrying out the functions of local government, their responsibilities are not only to adhere to the Constitution and laws of the state of New York, but also to represent the views of all the residents of the town. In attempting to take action to essentially endorse the controversial industrial activity of high-volume horizontal hydraulic fracturing, I believe that the Town Board, Callicoon, and the Comprehensive Plan Committee is derelict in its most basic fiduciary responsibilities. There is all kinds of language in New York State General Municipal Law and Municipal Home Rule Law that governs the powers and duties of Town Board members and members of any committees thereof. More specifically, Article 2 of New York Municipal Home Rule Law dictates, among other things, the following Town Board responsibilities: prudent management of town finances, the incurrence of obligations, accruement of debt, and protection against unnecessary claims against the town, the care and management of its roads, highways, and general municipal infrastructure, the protection and enhancement of the physical and visual environment, the protection, order, conduct, safety, and well-being of persons and property therein. Please tell me how you are abiding by such responsibilities or will be able to defend yourselves from a legal perspective when, 1, a study within the town of Callicoon already shows that a vast majority of residents within the town's boundaries are opposed to such industrial activity. 2, there have been no comprehensive impact studies supporting its efficacy or debunking its potential risks to our health, safety, and environment. 3, there is all kinds of data suggesting that there will be significant negative impacts to roads and infrastructure. 4, there is also data to suggest that it can and will significantly depreciate neighboring home and real property values. On a final note, I would also like to remind you that you are all bound by Article 18 of General Municipal Law that deals with ethics and conflicts of interest. Article 18 clearly lays out that if you have a pecuniary interest in natural gas drilling or stand to gain financially in some way from this vote, then not only should you announce this and recuse yourself, but also should not be participating in any discussions with regard to this matter. I understand the myriad of ramifications of this vote and the complexity of this issue. I ask that you please do the same. Thank you.
I am Jill Weaver. I live in Callicoon Center. Over 100 towns and cities representing over 1.5 million New Yorkers have taken prudent and preventive actions in enacting either a ban or a moratorium on gas drilling. Our draft comprehensive plan does not even acknowledge that these protective measures are a possibility. Instead, the plan passively states that gas drilling may be coming. Gas drilling does not have to come here to our beautiful and vibrant town. The comp plan should reflect the expressed wishes of the majority of residents, property owners, and stakeholders, and protect our rural character. Positive references to gas drilling must be removed from the plan, and the plan should lay out the option of a ban or at the very least a moratorium. The reliance of the comp plan on the DEC's draft rules is an abdication of responsibility. The state has not conducted a health impact assessment or an adequate economic analysis. Furthermore, the state rules have not been finalized, so what are you relying on? So far, the state has proposed some of the weakest drilling regulations in the country. Setbacks from a home in New York are proposed to be 100 feet. In Texas, it's 1,000 feet. In North Dakota, 1,640. Even in Pennsylvania, setbacks are 5 times what they are in New York. There are no rules in the state's plan that would govern seismic testing. In our town, this means crews can come in, drill a hole, load it with dynamite, and kaboom. Peaceful and safe living, preserving our rural character, this is something I don't see. Recently released industry documents, which I have here for you, acknowledge an immediate well failure rate of 6%. Over a period of 30 years, half of well casings fail. Industry admits surface casings do not help. These facts are backed up by statistics released by the Pennsylvania DEP. So you can imagine that they should really be inflated even more. The willingness of the authors of the comp plan to expose the water and consequently the health of their own community to known, immediate, and constant risks is unconscionable. The comp plan committee and the town board have a responsibility to protect the health and welfare of the community that they serve, and any member of the comp plan committee or the town board who stands to personally financially benefit from allowing gas exploration or associated activities like building transient worker housing in our town should immediately and publicly declare this conflict and promptly recuse himself or herself from the process. Thank you. And I'd like to have this.
Popular belief that I need the money from gas drilling. I don't need money from gas drilling. I want the money from gas drilling. And I want it for each and every person in this room. Just as my husband gave himself to be a fireman for anybody who needs him, which I don't know all you people. You know, I don't know who you are, but if the fire whistle blows, there's somebody's going to be there, and it might not be you people. But anyway, once the gas drilling comes through, I have friends, I've lived in Pennsylvania my whole life, and the big kick as teenagers was to light the faucet on fire. So Mr. Fox, he's just lost it all, but he's scared every one of you. The money that comes in to my friends that are in Pennsylvania, the taxes they pay, has helped everybody in the community. I'm sorry that you people that moved in and want to live, you know, be in the rural area, us farmers are leaving. We're going to be leaving.
Addressing the audience or you?
Okay, us farmers are leaving. And I do want to tell you, you did a great job, and thanks for protecting my property rights as a property owner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Me, Purple Geiger. I'm a local dairy farmer. I'm a 7th generation Sullivan County resident, and I am a landowner. I do stand to gain a lot of money from gas drilling. I'm also a Sullivan County legislator, a legislator who unanimously has moved forward because of their concerns with the most important part of all, the health and safety of the residents of Sullivan County. The legislature unanimously voted to set a moratorium on gas drilling until a health impact statement can be delivered through New York State. We also recently passed a resolution to ban the spreading of the waste brine from gas drilling on our county roads. As a landowner, a dairy farmer, I realize the economics. I've lived here all my life. but as a former public health nurse and someone who is severely affected by water contamination 15, 20 years ago in my hometown in Sullivan County, that was proven to be water contamination from a major gas company. My family went through litigation in 2000. In 2002, lo and behold, the gas company had a loophole that we were not able to successfully recoup money to redo the water supply. As a result, my brother and 10 of his friends have MS, and there's many other incidences of cancer. Sadly, the New York State Department of Health 6 weeks ago released its health impact study on that incident, and the headline reads, "Higher incidences of cancer found in my hometown." There's just too many ifs. And I urge the committee to amend the draft to discourage shale gas extraction, simply based on the chemicals used in the process, the federal loopholes that keep those chemicals a trade secret. Even though I can go online, I can get a list of not chemicals that are in the fracking fluid. I get a list of categories: rust inhibitor, gel propellant. I need a list of chemicals. The risk to our health and our potable water is the most important issue. I went through water contamination.
Time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Since the election in November 2011, I made the decision to get much more involved in this process. I started coming to town board meetings regularly, calling this one, I've come to all of these meetings. I feel like I've extended olive branches, I've tried different ways of communicating my views. I thank each of you personally for the service that you've done, as many have here tonight. What's really getting frustrating for me is I'm feeling like it's falling on deaf ears, and I'm getting really frustrated because I don't feel like the wishes of the majority of people who live in this town are accurately reflected in the plan, and continue not to be accurately reflected in the plan. In my view, it's reprehensible that with all of the evidence that's been presented from the residents of the town, that you, as the planning committee, have not incorporated it accurately in this draft plan. And I agree with the other individual who suggested, given the importance of this issue, if you don't feel like the existing survey is statistically accurate or statistically relevant enough, then you should, given the importance of this issue, given how controversial it is, you should resurvey the town. Take another, it's taken this long, take another 3 months, survey people properly.
Pablo Ramirez, as far as the Chandelier area. I just wanted to say that I came here when I was still a teen, and I fell in love with the place, the natural beauty like everybody else. Raised my kids here, and I'm part of 40 families in that area who had the same experiences, who enjoy the area very much. Right now, this moment, there's at least 10 teams, including my kids, who are enjoying the lake, the area, the fresh air. Okay. They're falling in love with the place. They're going to come back in the future, bring their families. We want to preserve this area. We want to make sure that it stays like that. Okay. And I'm speaking for just have a petition of about 40 people from the same area, from this forest to sign, basically reiterating everything that was said here. And I present to the board.
I don't want to see fracking come to this area. I don't want to see my favorite place destroyed like others would. Please consider all the consequences that fracking can have, because once it happens, it can't be undone. And right now, there's no safe way to do fracking, so please consider it.
Dairy farm, and I respect the positions of the board here tonight, but I would also ask the board to consider it from my perspective. I'm a younger generation growing up here locally, grew up here my whole life. I am I am going to college now, I'll be done in a year, and I would like to move back. But look at it from my perspective. If drilling happens here, what do I have to gain from coming back? We know that in the county, tourism is the biggest source of income for our county. Over $250 million comes in a year for tourism in this county. So when drilling comes, is that going to continue to be the source? Or even farming. Farming is almost $250 million as well, agribusiness. Is that going to continue to be the source? Or is the source going to be gas? What do I have to gain from coming back?
Understanding there's about 3,000 residents that live in the area, and something of this magnitude, you can only send out 421 surveys. There should have been like 3,000 surveys, 3,000 surveys to every single person should have been surveyed. There's no way you can get an accurate evaluation of the fracking from this. It's just not possible. Thank you for your time.
Like it or not, this is about fracking. We've already heard from 19 speakers. 18 of them have been opposed to fracking. One spoke in favor of it, my friend Paul Hubert there. 3 minutes is not enough time to say what's wrong with fracking. I'm not going to try to talk about the process here. The comp plan is supposed to represent the vision of the people in the town, and in many respects it does. The plan relied heavily on the community surveys completed by 421 residents. The plan spends 7 pages analyzing these opinions and correctly concludes that the residents of Callicoon value the rural character of the town above all else. But in one important aspect, the plan discounts the expressed views of the residents. 88% of the people who commented on fracking said they did not want it. And that overwhelming opposition is connected with hundreds of letters, emails, and petition signatures that have been or will be submitted tonight to the town. By the end of tonight, we'll have over 500 petition signatures, letters, or emails that we've received opposed to the pro-fracking references in this plan. There's nothing on the other side equal. The committee did not have the right to ignore the views of the residents and did not have public input to justify writing a pro-fracking comp plan that encourages industrial zones, housing for transit workers, and associated with large-scale industrial operations. The views of the residents, as expressed in the survey, the correspondence, the petition, and the testimony here tonight, must be respected. A frack-free, rural Callicoon is the vision of the residents of this town, and that must be reflected in the final comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Every day, I like the water. I live the rest of my 71 years down in Kohler Town. My family's been here since 150 years. That's not a newcomer to the area. I'm on the silent majority, I guess. I'm very much in favor of it. I listen to a lot of the people that's been around here in their families forever. Namely, a lot of the farmers, people that give us the food. They need it. Personally, I live on a postage stamp. So I don't have much to gain for it except what I would do with school taxes, land taxes, fire taxes, town taxes, etc. But what I do admire and I like to see is like my neighbors. They came up here 40 years ago from the city, built a second home. Wonderful people. They bought the mountain across from Lake Jeff Hotel. Now their sons stayed in the city. They're making the money. They're up in Swan Lake building homes down. I want some of my children, grandchildren now, because my daughter already moved, can stay around here and be part of the community. There ain't no money here. You make $20,000, $30,000 a year, you're doing good, unless you had a good job at state telephone company, etc. You know. So we got to do more. And you, like I said earlier, you listen to people that's been here forever. They never let you down. You don't listen to the movie actors. Back in my day in Nam, they had Jane Fonda. We call her Hanoi Johnny. Look what she done to you. Now you're listening to movie actors again. And talk to the people that's been here. You go to Pennsylvania, you talk about roads. Where they're going, beautiful roads. You look at the SGIS, original, Ted Falls. Example what they had to open pits. Now they're doing this closed loop. They're coming a long way to this. Take the fracking chemical, Chesapeake's, they'll tell you what they use. You got in your homes. You look at, they're going to propane fracking. It's everything we use now. You go talk about the smell and the air quality. Go to New York City. That's worse than it ever was in Pennsylvania. I've been here 3 times and it makes you sick. Thank you.
We were looking over in Pennsylvania around Wysox, Tawana, stuff like that. And I was over there recently visiting some friends over there. And I'm so glad I'm not there. It is so, it's just wild. You could never have a tractor parade because the place only closed 1 day a year at Christmas. So I guess I would say I'm opposed to the industrializations. If anyone's interested in seeing what a town looks like, go and visit Wysox, Pennsylvania, any day of the week, night or day. You'd be surprised at what you see, I think.
I don't know where to start. I've lived here for 63 years, my whole life, I'm 4th generation. My 3 children all live here, they're 5th generation, and my grandchildren all live here, they're 6th generation. I can tell you that I've served on the school board in Jeff's school for 6 years, 4 years as supervisor of the town of Callicoon, the last 4 years that the supervisors in the town also served on the county level, and 12 years as a legislator. I've been on the town of Callicoon Board of Appeals, the youth board. I've seen a lot of things. I will tell you, from my personal perspective, the town of Callicoon is one of 15 towns in the county and has always been the best run town. And it's been run by people who always cared about the community and the people who lived in the town. It didn't matter whether you lived here 3 years or 63 years. So that's not what this is about. As far as I'm concerned, I commend the folks on this board for the work they've put in, and I will leave you with a thought. Nothing's as good as it seems or as bad as it seems. The real deal is usually somewhere in the middle.
Like with me, I would put everything that I had into it, just as I expect you to put everything that you have into your job. To me, this issue seems like an issue of logic. The logic says that, to me, that we don't have enough information, period. Now, I agree that it's probably not as bad as it seems, and it's probably not as easy as it seems. However, if there is one iota of a chance that there's going to be a problem with construction, there's going to be a leakage of chemicals that we clearly do not understand the effects of. If that's going to be a problem, and that's going to get into water, if my land, if what I put into my day, just as I have high expectations for myself, what I put into my day in my life is affected by a decision made by people who represent me, who are supposed to do their job in the same way, sorry is not going to be enough. Not going to be enough. I want to know that it's cool. If that's the case, great. Do it. Make money. I'm glad that people aren't going out of business, that they can wait, that they just want the money. I want the money too. I have land. Doesn't matter how much land you have. If it is safe and go on my land, I'm all the time struggling to pay bills. If it goes on my land and it's safe, we'll do it. This is the way that I look at it. No, outstanding no. Fight it hard because corporations will take a crack in the door and go right through it. No until it's okay. Those two things. Increases property value instantly. People will buy here. Property values will go up. Landowners, farmers who have 400 acres, 200 acres, 500 acres, subdividable plots, 5-acre plots, sell a few 5-acre plots. Make a few dollars until this thing is cool. When it's cool, do it. If it's not, guess what we didn't do? We didn't risk lives. We didn't put our kids, everyone's talking about their kids. Forget about the past. The past is a nice story. It's great. I respect it. It's a story. The future. Does anyone care about the air you could have breathed yesterday? No. Does anyone care about the glass of water you could have had yesterday? No. Say no completely. Property values will go up. Sell a few acres. Make some money. When fracking is cool, great. Do it. Bring it on. I'll do it. Perfect. Until that day, no, because we don't know. No one in this room knows. You don't know. Nobody knows.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm adamantly for fracking. You talk about your water, okay? How about all the municipal waste that goes up 17? Where'd your water come from? Do you know? Is it coming out of those pits? Did you put stuff in it? What's feeding your well? You don't know, okay? So don't give me this garbage about you're gonna ruin my wealth. Look up, if you got a computer, GSFVF, that's Golf Sierra Foxtrot Victor Foxtrot. Waterless fracking, no water. Everything is recycled. You have no pollution coming out of it. You have no mud pits. This is a free country. I don't want to hear all the nimbus and the people that say any place but not in my backyard. New York takes your water. They got any right to that? Did they ask you about the reservoirs? No. So I think these guys have done an excellent job. And leave it up to the property owners. This is a free country. If I want fracking on my little plot on Chantilly, that's Jim Fullerton, Chantilly, I ought to be able to frack on it. They can put it right in my front yard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Fullerton?
Yes, I just want to say that New York never fails to miss an opportunity, Sullivan County is really poor. It needs income. I mean, they don't have casinos, they don't have even a work store or the mushroom factory. I mean, what is people supposed to do to pay their taxes? There's no way to make a living here. Young people can't stay here. We do live in Texas. Thousands of fracking wells. I haven't heard of one person yet that died of poisoning. I mean, give me a break. No one has died of poisoning down there, basically. I mean, so if you don't understand the process and you have not looked into how improved it is, all you're saying is, I think it's pitting one against the other. It's pitting a guy that has 1 acre against a guy that has 200 acres. And they're saying, if I can't have it, they can't have it. And that's exactly how this county is.
I understand that people want money from this fracking business, but it seems to me that fossil fuels are just a way of the past, and that as forward-thinking people, we should be thinking in terms of new technologies and letting the old technologies go. Focusing on wind power, solar power, geothermal power, all clean energies, which have no question about what happens as far as chemicals and explosions underground. There's not a problem. There's air, there's light, and there's solar cells, and there's wind turbines. You can see it all. You cannot see what goes on underground. You cannot know what's going to happen in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of perpetual fracking of the underground. Fracking for water is one thing, that's on one level. Fracking below that into the shale is a different thing altogether. I did want to say, and I'm sorry, I read the report. This is the first meeting I've come to. I was very impressed with the report. I want to thank you for making it very easy to pick out the fracking stuff. It was like right there. It's like, okay, that page and that page. And I personally would like to see you take a very strong stand against this and take a very strong, progressive stand for the future. Because, yes, technologies will change, and they'll get better. And I'm hoping that wind and solar technologies get better and more powerful. And that money can be made off of that. The only reason that the oil and gas people don't spend all their money helping us with solar and wind is they can't own air and they can't own light. They can only own gas and oil. So if they were to spend their money helping the solar people, helping the wind people, and geothermal energy, what a great thing that would be. So I would like to see us completely take a stand against this fracking, close the door on it, because we do not want heavy industry in this community, ever, ever. Why would we? We're so close to this huge urban center, New York City, and lots of people flee up here to have what's here.
15 seconds.
As far as I'm concerned, I read the whole report, I read it 3 times. I did not see where this comprehensive plan says that they're for fracking. They said they want to study what's there, which makes a lot of sense to me. They still have plenty of time to make any judgments down the road. And as far as fracking is concerned, well drillers are already fracking. You wanna know why? I had a well in Chandelier that was fracked. And it was fracked to a great extent because I didn't have any water. So when you talk about fracking, you better be a little bit careful about what you're addressing, because fracking is quite necessary in some cases in drilling for water. It's an expensive operation. None of my neighbors complained. Some of the people are here tonight that didn't even know I had it fracked. But it was a very long process. They did develop water seams, and I have water. So again, I want to thank the board for your extensive review and the comprehensive report. And I'm in favor of what the board said. They want to study things, not make quick decisions just because you've read a lot in the newspapers and movie stars have come out against all this. Use your own mind. Use your own mind. And understand that this board is not saying yes. They're saying we're going to leave the door open. We're going to understand what this is all about. None of you understand what it's about. If you've never had something fracked, you have no idea. Thank you.
You know, the town of Delaware, and I've lived up there all my life. My family's been was farmers there since the 1840s, and when we were forced out of farming in the 1960s, I went into carpentry, and you know, I was a carpenter for 42 years, and like Mr. Fulton, I had an experience with fracking. Recently, I built a home in the town of Bethel, and Billy Fulton drilled a well, and when 600 feet, no water, he said, "You're going to have to call in the frackers." I didn't know what he was talking about. I called my well drilling guru, Charlie Smith, and I said, "Charlie, who fracks?" And he said, "There's a group in New Jersey." He gave me their number. They came up. It is a very invasive process. These guys told me stories about blowing submersible pumps out of people's wells that were a quarter of a mile away, that went shooting up out of the well casing and, you know, 100 feet in the air. If they're using fracking to fracture bedrock to release the gases trapped there, what is it doing to the cement that's supposed to be encasing the water aquifers? I know it's at different levels, but we have no idea what's going on down there. And to speak just for a minute about the economic model that we have here that's working, I've worked on projects in the town of Callicoon all my life, many projects, and I'm just really worried that we're risking a really good economic model for possible quick gain, and if we have accidents, we're going to be losing it all. And I thank you guys for the amount of work you're doing on this. And I read the plan, and I'll have to read through again because I couldn't get through it all, but it's very knowledgeable. Thank you.
Address the board, please.
Go to all kinds of government committees in order to get permit to drill, and they had to provide features that show that they were concerned with safety. And then, of course, something happened, and the Gulf got covered with oil. The nuclear plant in Japan got hit by a tsunami, which they never predicted would happen, but it did. Then we also had Chernobyl. We also had 3 Mile Island. Accidents will happen, and by having, oh, by the way, let me restart, I'm against fracking. By having industry of that type, and we do need industry here sometimes, but heavy industry like that is inviting accidents to happen. And more often than not, with Murphy's Law in place, it will. The second thing I'd like to say is that bringing fracking in will turn neighbor against neighbor.
You address the board,
I'm
not
sorry,
the audience.
I'm not doing it on purpose. Fracking, in my opinion, will bring neighbor against neighbor. If I choose not to frack, and my neighbor chooses to frack, and something happens to my property because of his fracking, do you think when we meet in the post office, we're each going to give a rowdy hello the way we used to? I doubt it.
To protect the general health, safety, and welfare of everyone in town. Some of you are first responders, and in that capacity, you very actively protect your fellow citizens from fire, flood, accident, health emergencies. One of you, board member, has firsthand experience dealing with wreckage from automobile accidents. On some level, all of you know what it means to look after your neighbors and how important it is to any community, no matter how long anybody in the community has been here. It really isn't any different with gas drilling. In many communities, just like ours, all over the country, accidents have happened as a result of hydraulic fracturing. I have a list here. I won't read it aloud. You can read it later.
Opposition to fracking on many grounds. I'm very concerned our national leaders aren't listening to us. This Citizens United case will see horrible ramifications. I predict a terrible country all over, no matter fracking or not, after this next election, which will be bought out by billions of dollars, mostly the Republican side. I don't think our state lawmakers are listening to us. I'm hoping that on a local level, maybe, I would be in favor of, putting it to ballot again, maybe with a provision that if there is damage, the corporations and the people that are benefiting financially will sign on that they will take care of other people's wells that they've ruined, because this is not the past practice. If it can be done safely, go ahead and do it, but to rush through and to make all of us subject to danger. I live down in Chandelier, Panther Brook, flooding is getting me now. It's ruining my property value. And if, God forbid, if we get methane or something else in our wells because of it, I don't believe that all the science has been studied and proven safe.
I done a survey on the different farms in the areas, and 75% of the farm and the landowners that I surveyed were in favor of fracking and gas drilling. Many of them could use a lot of money right now because in the last 4 or 5 years, the farm business has been pretty bad. You have a pricing system that doesn't work well. You have ethanol that has thrown up feed costs. It's going to go and it's going to show up in grocery stores. It's already showed up in grocery stores, and that will continue. And until it levels out somehow, which I don't see happening very fast, the farmers that are here in this area can certainly use a good shot in the rear in order to keep their businesses going and maintain the open space that everybody dreams and says they will. The other point too I'd like to make, about 49% of the land in the town of Callicoon is farmed. Another 40% is woodland. 10% is houses and residential areas. So basically, I'm looking at this crowd here and I'm thinking to myself, well, most of it's probably about the 10%. The other 90% of the property out there is not.
The water is the ultimate issue for all of us, okay? And there are many, many examples of contaminations. Just read some more. Declining property values. I read a Guardian article just yesterday showing the statistics showing declining homeowner values, okay? If you've signed a lease and you make your money, God bless, but for everybody else, it's a mess. The number of years you're here, or the size of your property, or even property rights is really irrelevant. Well, it's irrelevant to the health issues and the water issues, and it's amazing to me that someone will speak of their acre or versus 200 acres. It really is neighbor versus neighbor. It's a conflict that shouldn't exist. It really shouldn't exist. Very commendable for you guys to do the hard work of doing all these tasks. It's very difficult. But on an issue like this, it should be clear and it should be easy. You really want to protect the health and welfare of all the people, and that's your job. And it takes some guts to do that. So protect us. and ban it. Don't allow, because you can't define the safety issues. You can't define that a company will come in and be responsible. Define that. Let's see lots of paragraphs about what that means. Okay, and other than that, let's get off of this. New versus old. I'm only here for like 32 years or so, but it has nothing to do with that. I could be here one day or last year. If I'm paying the property taxes, if I own property, if I care, that's enough. And I think most people, almost everyone in this room, whatever side of the argument you're on, you care about the place. Think it through.
I'm here to express my concerns about the comprehensive plan and its positive comments that are in it related to fracking. Fracking has not, as others have said, fracking has not been shown to be safe and it will damage our roads. But my biggest concern is my property value and the property values of all of us. The amount of land that I own is only 0.6 acres, and so I would not stand to gain from fracking were to come to this community anyway. But I do stand to lose a lot when it comes to my property values and my water, and also the roads. It would be really difficult with all of the truck traffic. Our roads will be damaged, and I'm very concerned about the finances of the town as it relates to the amount of money that we'll have to spend repairing the roads as we attempt to get something positive out of fracking, which I don't believe there is anything positive that can come of it. So I'd like for all of the comments related to fracking to be removed from the plan, and for the plan to state that it's not within the rural character of the town. Thank you.
The livability of old wetlands should fracking be allowed. As a home and property owner, as a resident in Jeffersonville, I'm opposed to fracking and gas drilling. To this date, there is no safe way to drill for gas. I think we need to learn from examples all over the country of what it's done to other areas. I don't see any reason why we have to do it here. I don't see how anyone, the gas drilling in our area would further plummet about the value of our property and our homes. No one would willingly want to live in an area with polluted water, air, and land. And thank you for your service.
Say, first of all, I live in Callicoon Center. I'm a business owner in Jeffersonville, and we have a home in Callicoon Center. I'm really very impressed by the eloquence on both sides. I'm amazed at how much people have given thought to it. Sorry. How much thought has been given to it. I commend the board for a plan that seems to incorporate what people are repeating here, which is that we are all interested in the safety of our water and the protection of our environment, the environment that makes us choose to live here versus New York City or whatever. All I can say is that I believe in democracy, and I trust that the board will listen, especially to the recommendations of Al and Raisy Shoup, and also I thought Pam Butler made an excellent recommendation on looking at other ways that could be included, such as solar energy, such as wind energy, to find ways to help the economy, to help the farmers here who are suffering. There's no question that they are, and that they need our help because we rely on them for everything that we need, for what we eat, for our environment. It started with them. So if there can be some kind of equality here, more research done, more surveys sent out, some really intelligent relooking at the entire question, I think that maybe the next meeting would find more people agreeing with one side or the other.
As of last Sunday, it's been 40 years of marriage. We have a law in our house called Doug's Law, which is Danielle's always right. So I totally agree with what you had to say. And my thing that's hit me the most is that I know my immediate neighbor is a dairy farmer who I truly adore, and the neighborhood, which we had a major fire, which was saved. The house was saved by the fire department that was there, the local citizens who lived there. And the kind of feeling of community is overwhelming for both my wife's and my life. But with that, with all the, let's say, the concern I have particularly for the farms in this community, the only problem is this seems like too big a risk. I am totally sympathetic to what their needs are, to the economy that's going on the farm, but the risk is just too much to take, and the danger of
I'm going to assume everyone, no matter what side of the issue they are on loves it here and thinks it's a beautiful area. So, not to repeat everything that everyone said, I'm just going to voice a personal concern, because I live less than 1 mile from Mr. Krieger's property, and I live at a slightly higher elevation. If I'm concerned that if drilling starts there, I don't know what's going to happen to my own water in terms of the pull on my well, however water travels underground, and if any of the chemicals that are injected leak, is it going to go into my water supply? I don't know what to test for, because we don't know what is going to be used. And also, getting tongue-tied, I have lived through many floods in Livingston Manor. Even though I pay taxes and I live in the town of Callicoon, I spend a lot of time in Livingston Manor where I own a building and I own a business. I have seen the devastation from a flood, and I have seen, I should say, I can't believe that in the case of a single accident that anyone up here is prepared to fix it, to restore the water, to bring our systems back to where they were and where they should be. If something big happens, in the industry I think they call it an incident, we are sunk. Why would anyone want this? And I am aware of the need for money and growth in industry, and that's all wonderful. We all need money, we all want the areas to develop. I wish it could happen with more sustainable methods like solar and otherwise, but in terms of fracking, I think if one incident happens, we are out of luck. And anyone, no matter what side of the issue you're on, if they believe that the companies are going to have a plan to fix it and give us the money to restore it and buy bottled water and remove all the bottles and fix our roads and all that, it's silly. It's silly. I don't want fracking. I don't think anyone here should have to live through that. Thank you.
You could rethink how you could engage the citizens in the writing of a plan, which is a look at our future. Most other towns and states and groups that do comprehensive plans involve a lot of citizens along the way. They don't just wait till near the end and do a survey. So I would like you to rethink that process and see if there's not a way, in a very diverse manner, we all can participate with ideas about the future. The plan is about the future. I think we need to think about farming. This fracking has caused such hardship with me and my neighbors, my closest neighbors, and it is just heartbreaking that it has caused that much. I think we forget that farming is a very hard business, and when we say we support farming, what I mean is we support a land that's productive, that's not there for the view, but is there for food. And I think the county is turning around on this, and I think we need to do that too. You have failed to move ahead on the farmland protection plan that I served on writing, that Earl Miner served on writing it, and others did. That's been there for more than a year. Other towns have started moving ahead. We need to look at what it means to support farming and actually do something. There are new farmers here. Farming will not be the same, and we have to realize that it's going to have a changing face. We always need to eat, and certainly that's an opportunity for us with markets here as well as in New York City. And finally, I just think, look around at this audience. This is what democracy looks like. And I am delighted to hear my neighbors who are opposed to fracking talk more about why they don't like it and why they want fracking here. I want to know more from them and from you. Why is this going to help you so much? Because after you get the windfall of the money, you pay your debts. Will that make your farm in 3 years a better farm? I need to understand that. And the plan would give us a chance to share those opinions.